Welcome, Greg via Zoom, Paul, and the remaining members of the select board, and Sarah. Today's a little different. I'm introducing everybody. I don't know why. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Jamaica Selectboard on Monday, February 10th, 2025. It is actually only 6:59. We are not late. The first order of business is to call for any late additions to the agenda. Do we have any? Greg, please.
I will just add one thing at any point, doesn't matter. I'll just gonna give a quick update on some FEMA projects. Not to go into any detail, but quick summary.
Okay, wonderful. Our perennial topic that crops up at any particular meeting. Okay, with that.
The water cooler's broken.
The water cooler's broken?
You broke
It
the
looks
water cooler?
Did you break the water?
Just kidding, yeah, it's broken, but that doesn't need to be.
Okay, all right, well, that's a critical item. Second order of business is to approve the minutes circulated by Sarah for the January 27th regular meeting. And I'll start with that. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 27th regular meeting of the Select Board. Second. Thank you, Kate. Any comments on those? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 2nd special meeting of the Select Board.
Second.
Thank you. And I will look for any discussion. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And finally, on our agenda, item 2, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Select Board held on January 23rd. Thank you. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you all.
Aye.
Good housekeeping. All right, so the next order of business is to not approve the actual RFP itself. And just for those where my description was not crystal clear, but in fact at the Wyndham Solid Waste Management Division, right? Division? Department? Division. District, thank you. Started with B, I had about, I had this pretty good chance I missed it. Which is an excellent organization based in Brattleboro that Kate is sitting on the board of, has come to the conclusion after some time, it appears, this has been on an agenda for a while, that it's important for this district to look potentially to a new hauler. So they are in the process of, actually I think it's pretty much final, is it final? Yes, please.
Thursday there's going to be a meeting of the executive committee, executive board to approve our doing this. A bunch of the towns got together and the consensus was that it would be better if Wyndham Solid Waste prepared one RFP for all of the towns, and then we'll tweak it after the meeting Thursday, assuming it's approved, then they'll give us next steps and we'll put in our numbers. We're hoping that all the towns will be ready with this by the end of the month so that by July 1st, the RFPs can have been all squared away and we'll either have a new hauler or
Okay.
A new hauler, like, for them or us?
every town, any town who likes whatever comes up with any other haulers.
You mean like someone besides Casella?
Someone besides Casella?
Yeah.
But not who hauls all of Wyndham, the districts?
It could be, yeah, any or all of it, any or some of the towns or all of them.
I think
No,
they'll.
I wondered if they hauled stuff off from their facility, I didn't know.
They do?
And they have a wonderful new composting facility.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew about that.
Yeah.
And we might save some money there.
It's lucrative and
Right,
profitable.
right. So the idea is that having all the towns in the district,
Yes.
right, on the same form,
Right,
there's some leverage there,
Yeah.
right? We've got sort of strength in numbers.
yeah. Yeah.
even though there's not, no one's obligated to take the
Right.
offer.
Plus the idea being that if there's one carrier who thinks, well, I could do it, but I need enough work.
Critical
And
mass.
all the other, yeah.
Right, right, great, great. So then they will issue it though, we give them our numbers, we approve it, as a tech, this is a select board for the town, but they actually issue the RFP on an amalgamated basis, right? Okay.
But are we looking for another hauler?
We're hoping that there's something better. We're gonna find out.
We'll find out.
Not to prejudice the board, but I just read all about Casella. And they're pretty big in the Northeast.
They're huge, they've got
Huge.
the whole
They're
region.
like, they're it.
Yeah, it's almost a monopoly.
It is, yeah.
Well, I'm
They
just
bought out
saying,
their old
there's not much
place.
competition.
Because remember we had Triple T.
Yes, Triple T.
They bought them out.
They bought up, yeah. They've been, it's like
Well, I
that
guess-
now.
Just coincidence, I just read that somewhere, I read 2 hours since 1970, whatever, where they came from, with one truck, one guy, to where they are now.
Wow.
And there's been an antitrust something or other some time ago, but.
Oh, was there
They didn't
an
mention that
investigation?
in my article. This was like just a success, just their, where they're at now.
What do you
Right,
think?
And exactly what you just said, that there's only a couple of people left for
right,
them to absorb.
right. Some last
Hear
holdouts.
that, Mr. Casella?
Right. So to the extent they need
Okay.
or want our approval, how does everybody feel about that? Greg, you agree that?
No, I agree. We should be participatory in this and see what comes out of it. We're still not obligated at this point, and we'll see if it comes up better. And I'd be interested to see, Kate, you may know, would it be open as part of the bidding process that somebody could bid separately on different components? And I'm thinking primarily compost would be a separate component, or is it all a lump sum, all three: recycle, solid waste, construction, everything?
I couldn't tell you, but I would imagine that if somebody was going to be creative, that we'd be open to, that it would be okay if it worked out
Yeah.
to our benefit.
Paul?
I would think and hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul?
What comes to mind, in my mind, is that it sounds very much, including the fact that it's all W's and S's and D's, sounds very much like the Wyndham school system, wherein all the towns got together and decided on how they were going to do things, and now, 20 years later or whatever it is, we're trying to back out of it and have to vote, they have to vote to let us out. Is this a similar situation where all the towns are working together?
Well, we're just going to be using the same RFP. It's simplifying the RFP process, but
Okay, so
we,
it's not
yeah,
Strengthen numbers, but
Yeah.
It's
not,
not a consolidation.
there's no
of all-
consolidated
No, I'm
contract,
just
no.
spooked by the very fact that that is on our.
And as a board member, I'm not anti-Casella.
No, no, I'm not
So,
anti-
if this RFP goes through and they lose half the towns, then they may not want to take us. So, there's something to sort of, it's not, we can see what's around.
The other thing that may come out of this, currently we don't have a contract with Casella. We're just going day to day, so to speak.
Right.
And that Casella may come forward with some better rates overall than what we're getting individually. So that may come out of it, a potential outcome.
Yeah, a similar thing actually happened in Brattleboro, and because they were looking into a place in Keene, and it turned out that Casella came back and they did better. So-
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of why I said, I don't want to roll them out.
Well, we're not ruling it
Oh,
out.
no one's being ruled
Giving
out.
them some
No one's
competition.
ruled in and no one's ruled out.
Giving them
Yeah.
competition will, that's
Right.
why you get better prices sometimes.
Right, it's basic procurements, yeah, triple bid. All right, thank you, Kate. Thank you for the
So do we need to formally make a motion that we wish to participate in this RFP?
I
They're
don't-
looking for
Oh,
the
they are?
approval, for approval
Oh,
from us
they weren't.
to,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay, my mistake. Thank you, Greg. So I will make a motion. Is that okay? I'll make a motion that we approve our participation in the RFP, which would include providing the information relevant to this town to be amalgamated into the larger RFP, which we will see and review prior to its issuance. Thank you.
How long do we have to do that?
Well, they
2
would
weeks?
like it to be done, yeah, but I mean, most of the work is going to be done, we just have to plug in the numbers.
Right. Any update, I think they even have our numbers, but what we spend on Casella, they might, or they know our contract terms, I'm pretty sure. So, whatever, we would work with you to get whatever numbers they need. Anything
We have to
else?
vote?
Yes, I will, see no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next, and I apologize everybody for my late draft, but I did want to give to the board members, and anybody else who wants to see it here, an outline of the questions and answers that I will prepare with council, to brief those who care to read it before the information session or to guide a discussion at the information session around Article 5, which is the vote to determine whether the voters of the town agree to contribute the excess tax revenue raised in the 23-24 tax year to the town's flood recovery fund. So, I broke it down, trying to sort of start at the beginning, so to speak. So when did this happen? How is a tax rate set? I mean, that's a perennial question I get from people. And unless you know actually how the tax rate is set, you don't understand how the mistake was made. So once we baseline that, the question would be, what led to the mistake? The background of what was happening, how the calculation was made, and you'll be able to see there how it doesn't coincide with the sample that we'll have under the prior question, and other errors in the calculation that didn't help, weren't profound, but didn't help, just so that in full transparency. Then comes, in my mind, the big question, which is why is it the recommendation, for example, of our auditors to contribute the excess fund to the flood recovery, excess funds to the flood recovery fund? And we'll go through the basics. There was a pre-existing deficit at the time of the the 23 floods, even at the time of the 21 flood, but of the 23 floods and the excess revenue being generated. We'll go over the actual expenses incurred at that meeting. I mean, we do it here periodically, but we all know that that kind of information is helpful. Not everybody has it really, or it doesn't stick in people's mind, the order of magnitude. We'll point out and remind folks about the remaining debt that we're carrying as a town. Some of it's been paid down with FEMA funds that have come in, but quite a bit remains outstanding. What our prospects are of recovering funds from FEMA. We do have prospects, but it's not complete. So I want to give people a sense of that gap, and the risk. The fact that and this was a new one, Greg, that I didn't discuss with you, and I wanted to run by with you to see if you felt it was helpful, that we're still doing mitigation projects. We hope to get FEMA funds for other mitigation projects, but we may not. And that goes to the last point, which is if we don't do those, we exacerbate our risk of future flooding. And undertaking those mitigation projects without FEMA funding and without having these funds contributed to the flood recovery fund, we probably don't have the money for them. So
Yeah.
we certainly are at risk of not having them. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would expand on that to say that we may in the future see mitigation work that's necessary or deemed helpful or whatever you want to call it, but has not been eligible for FEMA funding. So, and the other part that I would add would be that even with all the FEMA funding and reimbursements for expenses, they're only reimbursing at best 90%. And sometimes it's 75%, and there's some state matches, et cetera, but there's still going to be money out of pocket expense that we're never going to recover. That's what the purpose of the fund is.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that what you came up with there was excellent.
Okay. And then, also important, I think probably a question that may be top of people's minds is, well, if we don't contribute this excess to the flood recovery fund, what are the other options? And the options that were summarized for me by council were the potential for a return of excess tax to each individual taxpayer, which, and I'll get some more details as to how that even works, but it's very expensive. That's basically what our council said.
And not much money.
Not much money per person, and it's exorbitantly expensive. There's also the possibility of a credit towards future taxes, and I have to get the details to him because I don't see how that works on a per taxpayer basis. Sarah and I were talking about that. We don't know if it would just be a reducing the overall budget, like how that works. So again, I need to spend a little bit more time with council. The others, I feel pretty confident to cover as it is, maybe with a little bit of input from Sarah as well. But that last one I just need to nail down. They're there, they're options, they need to be described in full transparency, et cetera, and completeness. But that was the scope that I came up with. Any other, I'm looking around to see if there's anything, okay. So when the draft comes out, I'm gonna do it this week because I want this to be posted before, I mean, we have until the 25th, the meeting's on the 25th, but I'd love for it to be out a good 10 days before. Some of this, at least with respect to the pre-existing deficit, we need our financials for, which we don't have. Do we have any word on that? Still
Haven't heard
nothing.
anything else.
Okay. All right, so I'm not sure I'm comfortable finalizing this without our audited financials. I suppose we could do it we could issue it twice, or I could just say, number pending audited financials, what have you. So we'll see about that when the time comes. Yes.
On the handout, there's
Yes.
a date but not a time. What's the time for the meeting?
Oh, on the Q&A? Yes.
February the 25th.
Yes. I think I just said 7 p.m., but I'll confirm that. Thank you.
What time?
7.
Seven.
7. Yeah. And I'll say it's also in the town office.
Here.
Yeah, it's here, not at town hall.
And we should probably put that on the website, just.
Yes, and the warning has that information in it, so if you put the warning, I think that's good enough. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the warning doesn't have all this information.
Yeah.
It's just a plain warning, yeah. No, definitely good to do. I mean, the warning was posted, but, yeah. All right, well, so I think there may be some more suggestions, once the answers are drafted, but that's, thank you, Greg, and thank you, everyone, for listening. Okay, so I will go on to, I did say on the agenda, so we all recall that an attempt was made to petition the select board to include an article about the garbage bags. So it failed on its face legally, but it is an issue that people are asking. And how do people feel about me preparing a supplemental kind of Q&A for transfer station, Kate, that you could review for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the same night?
No, you know what do you think?
I don't think
At first
you're
I
gonna
thought
get
so, and then
a
I was like, eh.
You'll have them
Right.
for this, but
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe
Right.
10 people will come for a Q&A about bags.
Right.
Maybe all the
No,
people
I was
that signed
thinking
it.
more just doing a Q&A,
Yes.
and then because I suspect it will be raised at town meeting in
I
public,
think so too, and I think
public concerns.
we need to let people know, we
Right.
hear you, we understand that you have
Right.
your concerns.
Right. So,
We are on record saying, no one made a motion, but once those bags get down,
Yeah.
that we will, we were talking about,
Okay.
right? We
Yeah.
can answer questions about
yeah, that would
how
be on
to
the
use them, is that
Q&A.
what you mean? How to use them? Is that part of the?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm gonna get in trouble here, but part of this, is our transfer station attendant.
Oh,
Yes. He is, hearing complaints about the bags and telling everyone what they should do.
is he telling they should compost? Is that what you mean?
No, just
Oh,
Do
part
that.
of the reason there was a petition.
oh.
Now, I'm gonna be on his list now, but I don't care, I go up there and it's like 25 minutes every time I drop off the bag. I'm sure you get it too. I either get saved or I get roasted.
I'm usually in a hurry.
I am too,
I've had very
I'm
good.
scared of you.
Right, Kate is phenomenal in
I've
this
had
role.
important information from him.
Oh, I know, me
You
too.
So, yeah, so it's good.
Right.
But, yes, I think the public, we do need to make sure that people know how the bag should be used.
Mhm.
Not to be putting in liquids and food and glass. and,
Right.
you know.
Just follow the regs. Just, yeah.
You can have one and
Okay.
if get people to show up, that'd be great. Have that town meeting.
Have it. do it.
Well, I wanna have it available and done before town meeting. So we could put it out at town meeting and we can post it on the website in advance of town meeting.
Or can be brought up there,
It will be, I think it will be.
Yeah.
like Greg, how's that go at the end of that?
It's
Anyone go,
public
You
concern.
can't vote on anything, but we can talk about it.
Yeah. Right, well,
As the only public here, can I offer a thought?
yeah,
Experience today. I actually had a conversation up there at the transfer station about the very thing. I'm complaining about the bags, they're too small, they're inadequate, etc. His recommendation to me was that I should bring that information to the select board.
Yes.
It's which I'm gathering he tells other people to do the same thing. Having said that, going over the minutes, actually, was gonna bring this up during public concerns, but since I'm the only public. In your minutes from the 13th,
yeah,
I'm quoting now, you were talking to Tina Mowry, and she had submitted a petition of some sort, which I don't remember ever seeing. But anyway, she would like the issue to go to the vote on town meeting. Kate said, we hear you, but we're in a bind. We talked about the bind.
Right.
You, when I reviewed the videotape, you also said, we hear you. I was very surprised that it is not on the town meeting, because the town meeting warning was just finalized last week, correct?
correct, but we did not get a valid petition to add it to the town warning.
That was unclear to me why the petition was invalid.
It was initiated.
I described it in the minutes, so the statute is very clear as to what the requirements are for a petition.
Yeah.
It basically didn't meet any of them. It wasn't signed by a member of the town. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, Paul. If you want, separately, I'll send you an email, but it failed in basically every respect.
The problem was the approach that the group who were complaining took wasn't in concert with the petition rules or regulations.
Right,
Okay, like I said, I wasn't involved in that, I was in bed, sick
Right.
for whatever reason, but at any rate, that I think is a good thing for the public to understand, because I'm not sure many people do understand how that went so bad, so fast, when everybody seems to be
Can I
complaining.
speak to this a little bit? Because I think
absolutely.
one of the things that we're not discussing right now that we talked about at the last meeting was, or maybe we talked about it when we finalized the warning for the town meeting, is that the articles on the warning are all actionable items. And we, at this point, with $20,000 worth of bags, we are not taking any action at this point. So it's very valid that we should discuss this at town meeting or can discuss it, but the reason it's not on the warning is that there's no decision to be made at this time. I mean, that when we signed off on the warning, that's my
But
understanding.
we still could have, if we had received a valid petition and it was accompanied with, a requirement that the town spend $20,000 to replace the bags, and that was voted in, technically, we could have, but it wasn't a valid petition. As a select board, we felt it was unwise. And 3, the answer was, follow the statutes. And
Okay.
follow the recycling rules, follow the composting rules, and the bags work fine. Are they a little smaller because they don't have a handle? You're absolutely right. But there are ways of managing that. I do it myself, and I'm not very good at this stuff. So that was,
Part of the issue is, personally,
Hold it, I think, all due respect, and anyone that ever says that, it's not gonna be good. I don't think we're discussing the petition. I think there's an agenda item to discuss, question and answer, a Q&A for an informational meeting. Consider preparing the question and answer for the transfer station page and throwback. Not the petition, not anything else.
that's all on the agenda?
Mhm.
Is it on the agenda?
No,
yes,
that was
it's
just what I
here. It
read.
says, consider preparing a Q&A for transfer station
On the
pays
warrant.
and throwback.
No, on this agenda.
meeting, that's what the agenda item is.
Number 4 is what we're
Right,
talking
right.
about. No, not all this petition.
I'm sorry, I thought it was germane to what, I don't know.
It might be at this meeting, but
Germaine in the sense that in the Q&A, I will cover what you're saying. I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
Paul, and I'm taking this time to discuss it with you because of all your history with the town, your devotion, et cetera. But, put your old hat back on. If someone submits a deeply invalid petition to the board, it's not my job to tell people.
I
And
understand.
these are rules that are easy to figure out. And then, to Greg's point, nevertheless, we took it up for discussion as a board, and it was clear to us that there was no reasonable fiscal way to actually, to put this on the agenda, even if the petition had been valid, it would have been very difficult. The town would have to agree to add $20,000 to the budget, which strikes me as wholly improbable. So that's kind of how we ended up here, and I want to think about how to put that in a Q&A. I'm not thrilled about it because nobody's going to feel great about it. Anybody can come to a select board meeting, and Tina did. In fact, I was kind of hoping Tina might consider running for the board. Because she was great, beautifully.
turned up. She never came back.
No, she didn't, so I'm not holding my breath, but, right, maybe she will. She's extremely well-spoken, obviously educated, aware, interested, and exactly the kind of person we want on the board. We all don't have to agree, we don't always, but the discourse is what's key, and she struck me as someone who would make a great addition, so we'll see. We told her that in the meeting, and she'll be sure.
Yes, and then back in that discussion, like I just said a little while ago, we said when the bags ran down, we would take a look at it, what made changing or not changing, or. We
Weighing,
can't do anything till we get
tokens,
down to
yeah,
That'll be next year.
a couple
bigger
thousand
punch
bucks.
cards. Yeah,
Couple
it'll be
thousand.
next year,
Yeah, so,
okay.
kinda- that's the line.
But you are going to have a discussion of that at the town meeting.
It's not an agenda item.
If
I understand it's not an agenda.
Right, I just think someone's gonna raise it and call the concerns.
I can
Right,
guarantee you, people will raise it.
right, so
Yes.
I'm gonna do a Q&A in advance,
Okay.
yeah.
Because it's a long conversation.
I know it is.
Okay.
So, moving on to the next order of business, why don't we, before we do the kind of the basic stuff, Greg, can we hear from you on the FEMA update?
Sure. I always, I don't know, I'm not going to run through every little last thing that we've been discussing, lots of stuff on the platter at this point, but a few positive notes, and that's what I like. That's how my personality, I guess. I always even though there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but a few upsides here. One of them was relative to the 2021 storm, and we obviously tracked down about $218,000, and we have received that money from an outstanding project that wasn't completed. But during the closeout process of those, that once all the physical projects are obligated, a new project is then created, which is basically the management costs, our administrative fees and things like that. In disasters of our size, these lower, they seem big to us, but they're not hundreds of millions of dollars. So we don't have to track all those costs. So they're assigned a 5% fee. So basically that's the $28,600 that will be coming from that disaster 2021 extra so to speak, above what we've been all looking at. And as of today, and I hope you're all sitting down, our stormwater, our Ball Mountain Brook removal, hazardous or debris removal has been obligated.
That is huge.
$535,500.
Way to bury the lead there, Greg.
Oh man, it wasn't even when I looked this morning, it wasn't. But Geraldo and I had a great conversation following through on some stuff, and it was seeming that it was close. So I was checking it all day today. So.
All day, and then finally, it's like when you apply to college, keep checking for that acceptance.
Right.
Wow, congratulations, Greg. You brought it over the finish line. I know there were
We're
involved,
very-
but your contribution was absolutely key. So
Well, it was persistence on a lot of people's part, and I certainly want to thank Geraldo. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff that's
Yes.
very, very consistent and methodical. He doesn't ruffle a whole lot of feathers, but he knows where to go and where to look and how to get things done. And there's a few other projects that are most of it should be wrapped up pretty soon.
Great. Amazing. Congratulations. Wow. And that's such great news for the town. Thank you.
Could I just add to that, I should talk to you, Greg, or to the board. I went to the Transportation Committee meeting today for Wyndham Regional, and the topic was Vermont flood resiliency. But it was mostly about the maps, and they've got an updated map, and they've looked at all of Vermont. And it's for mitigation and things, but I can tell you where the site is, and it sounds like it might help us with what he wrapped up with.
Are they doing updated flood zone kind of?
They're doing
Yeah.
like culverts that may have went in for Irene, might not be what they would be now, that kind of thing. Where the rivers and roads are color coded, where they might act, or more likely to act up in 100, or they're looking at maybe 500-year floods now, because anyway, it was kind of a boring meeting until they started talking about that. And so they're gonna put it in the minutes, my minutes for Wyndham Regional, and that link will be in there.
Great.
So
Great.
that might be something that
That's very
they're
interesting.
encouraging boards, administrators, anyone who could benefit from that, to look at that
Oh,
on.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
I'd be interested in seeing that.
Without a doubt.
Coincidental, but
Yeah.
That was a
No, thank you for
forethought.
that info. So you'll circulate the.
yeah, when I get the link from the minutes, I could
Right.
probably get it sooner, but I'll get it to you now.
Just push it out.
Next week.
Yeah. So the next order of business is to review and approve an application for liquor and tobacco. Kate, do you have that? I can look at it. Okay. All right.
I believe there's
That's the no appeal. This is the application.
It's
The
like a pretty
alternate
official logo.
tobacco, I forget what it's called.
It's the tobacco substitute
That's the
endorsement.
word, substitute. So there's 3 of them.
Oh, there are 3?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one is Rossonville Marketplace. They're looking for their renewal of their tobacco substitute endorsement. And
We just have, for the public, we just have to okay these things. They already paid a fee and everything, Sarah? Or is that how that works, like the liquor license?
Yes, they're checking in the mail
So we
today.
just say it's okay, or what if
we have to approve it. We have to approve it formally, otherwise.
verbally? Or do you have to sign something, or?
I have to go, there's a portal now.
Oh,
You used to
okay.
sign off on it,
Yeah.
now
Right.
once
No,
you
I didn't know how that
approve them,
worked.
Yeah, we used to all sign our names.
I remember
Some
that.
I go
of
in
it
the
is-
portal and then I put the motion from the minutes into that.
Okay, all right, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, how,
I mean, I don't know
that
how to,
sews
but I
up
always
the
do.
deal then, for
We get less money though.
And do more work.
cigarette
Makes
substitutes. Is that vaping? Is that what they
Yes.
call it?
Yes. So, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the DLL application 52091 for tobacco substitute endorsement submitted by Rossonville Marketplace Limited.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No,
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
I,
we're all abstaining for now.
Abstaining? Okay, Greg, did you vote?
no, I'm yes, affirmative.
Okay, great. The second license application is for a second class license. I'll make a motion to approve, Department of Liquor and Lottery application 52092 for a second class license submitted by Rossingville Marketplace Limited as well.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that?
Oh, second class? for
Second class.
Just beer?
Beer and wine, Venus beverages and wine. So, any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Application fees submitted. The last is it looks like the last, yeah, is the Department of Liquor and Lottery application number 52093 for a tobacco license. This is regular tobacco. Also submitted by the Rossingville Marketplace. I will make a motion to approve said application.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Just abstaining.
And, one abstention. You, all right. All right, thank you. The next order of business is, to approve, the certificate of no appeal or suit pending. This we issued to Green Mountain Power. No, that's the easement. Sorry. I'm confusing two. This goes to the state, and basically what we're saying is that there are no appeals pending from an action of the listers or lawsuits pending to recover taxes paid under protest relating to the April 1, 2024, so that's last April 1's grand list of Jamaica, Vermont. The members of the select board will sign under select board, and it will then be dated, probably today's date, I would think. And you will attest to that. And that's basically the totality of the certificate, so although I will make a motion to approve signing the certificate. Okay, any questions? This is an annual thing. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so everybody will have to sign that. Last is we received a, I should have read this, but it's the same as everyone. We received a request for an easement from Green Mountain Power Corporation, and Telephone Operating Company Vermont LLC, for overhead and underground cables, wires, lines, conduits, poles, et cetera, for line 50122, commencing at the lands now or formerly of Joshua Davis, beginning at the center line of Pikes Falls Road, and that it shall run southwesterly direction. GMP will be installing a new pole with an anchor number 52, and then it will turn and continue in a northwesterly direction to the lands now or formerly of October Frost Trust. They will also be entering our property, meaning the roadway and town-owned land, whether they be rights of way or mostly roads, to install the anchor on pole 54 on the grantor's land, which is in Jamaica's right of way. I can tell you from personal experience that this language is standard in the GMP easement. And go right ahead, take a peek. Let me just make sure that's your, oh look, they gave you a reporting stamp.
Oh, that is so
Very
nice.
cute, very cute. So that's that. Before I make a motion, well,
What is this, some property or just?
so actually, they're asking, this easement is over town property. It's not a third party's property. These are just, like, they're giving us, courses, like meets and bounds, sort of
Right.
where, they're just telling us where it's gonna begin and end.
So they're doing like maintenance
Yeah, so they're putting in a whole new pole,
or the new poles.
they're, right, the new funny holes, little
Yeah,
T
they have
holes,
the-
yes. Yes,
Wires on
exactly,
it.
exactly.
Oh, that's great.
No, it's all, yeah, it's good for us. So I will make a motion to approve, the grant of an easement and the form circulated to the select board to Green Mountain Power and Telephone Operating Company Vermont LLC. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great, so that takes care of those. And that takes us to the review and approval of the timesheets. So I'll make a motion to approve the timesheets for the town office, the listers, the highway crew, and the transfer station. Seeing no discussion of those, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next, to review and approve the pay orders, the warrants that are included in the folder. I will make a motion to approve the pay orders. Okay. Seeing no further discussion of those, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. So Paul, I know you've already been sharing some public concerns, but you're a public. Anything else?
I may be concerned out.
Oh, I'm all concerned now.
No, that was a concern I had, it come up to me as well.
Perfect. Thank you then.
Just some information, the town of Jamaica decided not to opt in or look into multiple contracts with the sheriff's department if they would benefit them as they thought it was expensive.
Okay.
So, and I didn't really race to coordinate a 3-town meeting, but
The
I
town
talked with-
council, you meant?
Townsend and Londonderry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
they-
meant one of the other towns, right? Not
Townsend,
Jamaica.
Londonderry, and us,
When-
we're gonna maybe talk, and then Newfane, I talked to Ally, the select board chair down there, and then I finally said, hey, I was supposed to call the sheriff, haven't got to it yet, and she said, oh, never mind, we voted not to
I
seek
see.
any coverage.
Any?
No.
They're just relying on
That
the
was a
state.
little expensive. So, just information.
Okay, no. Any thoughts on that? Do we still wanna maybe combine with the other two towns or?
We are with Londonderry,
We are.
we kind of got the mid space.
Oh, that's true,
When
that's
they
true.
came in and,
Right.
I don't know, they're down in Newfane pulling people over, I don't know what they need a contract for, but
Right.
maybe they got one, I don't know. So, that's that. And then, I haven't talked with the sheriff in a long time, or any of his deputies.
One stopped in last week here to see how everything was in town.
Did you get an email about a ticket report? I don't know if that was beside what do we get, STARS reports? Sarah and I get STARS
Yeah, that's the only
reports.
one I've seen.
I don't know, maybe she made a mistake, but I don't know if it's gonna show actual tickets. I don't think that's
It
That's
can,
not public.
it can.
what people's
Yeah, it
names
tells
are.
you when to get ticketed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it tells how many tickets, but not who they went to.
but it's
But
good,
anyway,
it's not, it's.
She
it's
said it will be
public.
on the 14th of the month, and I just assumed you got a copy. Because
That's-
Sarah and I both get
Mhm.
a STARS report as under the liaison, and she's the clerk.
Mhm.
So that way, one of us gets them.
Right.
Sarah usually puts a copy in the basket.
Yes, yes.
And it tells what they've been doing for
Yeah.
our,
Our little
contracted
hamlet.
run. Sometimes they're doing a lot.
Newfane had that flipped over car yesterday. Did you see that picture? Literally upside down in the middle of Route 30 in front of WW. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe Newfane needs to stay to.
Oh, you guys reaching for a piece of candy and ended up.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Because I'm like, how did he end up
Wow.
like literally upside down in the lane?
It's public knowledge, so.
Okay,
Yes.
I actually should have put something also
Oh,
on
please.
that. Yeah, I just want to invite anybody who wants to join in. I'm having an online phone meeting with Christine White of Drive Electric Vermont, following up on the possibility of having charging station. So, I just thought, oh yeah, what happened with this? And so I thought.
That would be
follow up.
great.
So-
So will you let us know kind of how it goes?
Yeah, if anybody wants to join 10 o'clock Thursday morning, you're welcome to. So I can send you information. Check out. I'll let you know what happens.
But yeah, I trust you to capably summarize. No, thank you for attending that call because it definitely remains, despite maybe the current administration, remains of
I know,
high interest to the public.
I know,
So,
yeah, hoping there are still grants.
right. Well, we'll see what this court says.
More will be revealed about that through the Transportation Committee,
Oh,
about possible loss of funding for interstate chargers or not.
or not.
So
Okay.
I don't want to elaborate on that, but you opened the door to it.
Okay.
So all of that, you know, I gotta tell you, sitting down on that, for years I've been on that committee. And some of the things that they were talking about seemed to be a little, I told them, I feel like I'm a spy down here. I don't think any of this is achievable. They're following exactly the California emissions thing for Vermont. And I'm like, I'm not really for some of this and some of that. And then it was gonna be, what, $1 billion in 10 years for us to put the HVACs in, and, you know, Molly Burke's yelling at me that me and Matt Coda are telling untruths and calling us liars and whatever.
Really?
Yes, about they were gonna put a tax on heating fuel.
Yes.
That's probably not gonna
Yeah.
happen now, the governor's not gonna let that
I
happen.
can't imagine we would ever.
Well, anyway, so things have
Right.
quieted down some on the transportation committee, but another thing you're talking about is bicycle paths and what smaller towns are doing in northern Massachusetts. There'll be more information on that, you know, populations like ours, what they're doing, what they're implementing where it's safe to have bicycle paths. So
I feel like it's
they're probably
fire
gonna
there.
steer, you know, they're gonna look into those kinds of things more. I don't know.
And maybe an e-bike. I mean, we're in Vermont. It's awfully hilly.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
One of my pharmacists, he rides his
The
e-bike.
e-bike, yeah. I mean,
Hardwood
people
acres
do it.
every
They're
day.
so into it. Yeah. All right.
Really.
Dewey, yeah. It does say
Dewey.
From Brattleboro to Townsend.
Does he Brattleboro to Townsend on his e-bike?
Wild
God
man.
bless.
Okay.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.